Most people know Jay Leno as a late-night host. Car enthusiasts know him for something else entirely. Over the last 4 decades, while millions watched him on television, he was quietly building one of the most respected automotive collections on the planet. Today, in a massive hangar-sized building in Burbank, California, sits a collection that spans the entire history of the automobile, from early steam-powered experiments to modern carbon fiber hypercars capable of 250 miles per hour. What makes it compelling isn't just the number of vehicles, which hovers around 180 cars and more than 160 motorcycles. It's the way they're treated. These machines are driven, maintained, rebuilt, and kept in running condition. The garage feels less like a trophy room and more like a living archive. If you enjoy understanding how engineering evolves, how one breakthrough leads to another, make sure you're subscribed, because the deeper we go into this collection, the more you begin to see that it tells a story about innovation, discipline, and long-term thinking. And that story really begins with how Jay handled his money long before the garage reached this scale. The financial discipline that made it possible. Jay Leno's collection exists because of a decision he made early in his television career. While hosting The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, he earned tens of millions of dollars annually. Instead of upgrading his lifestyle to match, he continued performing stand-up comedy year-round and chose to live entirely off that income. The television salary went straight into savings and investments. That discipline created room to collect without pressure. He didn't need to sell cars to fund other purchases. He didn't need to chase market spikes. He could buy something because it fascinated him and keep it indefinitely. Over time, that freedom shaped the garage into something unusually cohesive. The cars reflect engineering milestones and pivotal moments in automotive development. Early steam cars sit alongside pioneering electric vehicles. Race-bred machines occupy space near luxury icons from America's pre-war golden age. The thread connecting them is curiosity and mechanical significance. He has also spoken publicly about choosing not to buy from Ferrari due to personal disagreements with the brand's ownership policies. Whether people agree with that stance or not, it reinforces a consistent theme in the collection: independence. The cars aren't there to signal status. They're there because he respects what they represent. That mindset becomes even clearer when you see where the cars live and how they're cared for. Inside Big Dog Garage. The building that houses the collection, often referred to as Big Dog Garage, spans roughly 140,000 square feet near the Burbank Airport. From the outside, it looks like a standard industrial facility. Inside, it opens into a carefully organized space, designed around function. There are dedicated restoration bays, fabrication equipment, machining tools, and full-time mechanics who oversee maintenance. Engines are rebuilt when necessary. Hard-to-find components are fabricated in-house. Vehicles are rotated and exercised regularly, so seals, gaskets, and moving parts remain healthy. Walking through the garage feels chronological. Early 20th century machines occupy one area, mid-century American performance cars another, and modern supercars and hypercars sit further down the line. You can trace technological progress simply by moving from one section of the building to the next. The atmosphere is relaxed, but purposeful. Cars are accessible. They aren't cordoned off behind velvet ropes. Jay frequently takes them onto public roads and events, treating them as functioning machines rather than static investments. When you stand in that space, the collection starts to feel less like a display of wealth and more like a long-term commitment to preserving motion. Every vehicle represents a moment when engineers tried something bold, sometimes successfully, sometimes imperfectly. And those moments together form the backbone of the garage. And once you understand that foundation, the individual cars begin to take on a deeper meaning. The analog legends. Before carbon fiber tubs and hybrid boost systems took over the performance world, speed came from displacement, mechanical grip, and driver commitment. That era holds a special place in Jay Leno's garage. One of the crown jewels is the McLaren F1, widely regarded as one of the greatest driver's cars ever built. Designed by Gordon Murray and powered by a naturally aspirated BMW V12, it held the record as the world's fastest production car in the late 1990s, with a top speed of 240.1 miles per hour. Only 106 were produced in total, including race variants, and Jay has owned his example since the 1990s. Nearby sits the Duesenberg Model J, a symbol of American engineering dominance during the pre-war era. When it debuted, it produced 265 horsepower in standard form, an astonishing figure for its time. In the late 1920s and early 1930s, owning a Duesenberg signaled that you had reached the absolute top tier of automotive luxury and performance. Jay's appreciation for these machines isn't rooted in nostalgia alone. He often speaks about the technical ambition that defined that period. American muscle also has a strong presence. The Ford GT represents a modern tribute to the GT40 legacy, blending heritage styling with a supercharged V8 capable of over 200 miles per hour. It reflects how American manufacturers revisited racing glory decades later with contemporary engineering. What ties these cars together is the direct mechanical connection they offer. No traction control layers filtering the experience. No synthetic sound. The sensation comes straight through the steering wheel, pedals, and chassis. When Jay drives them, he's engaging with the raw architecture of performance. And that raw connection makes the next category in his garage even more fascinating, because it shows how performance evolved once technology entered the equation. Engineering firsts and technological milestones. Jay Leno's collection isn't anchored in a single era. It stretches from steam power to hybrid hypercars, tracing the industry's most important turning points along the way. One of the most historically significant vehicles in his garage is the Baker Electric. At the beginning of the 20th century, electric cars were common in American cities, valued for their quiet operation and ease of use. The Baker Electric represents a time when battery-powered transportation competed directly with gasoline. Seeing it parked within reach of modern EVs creates a tangible timeline of innovation. At the other end of the spectrum sits the McLaren P1, one of the holy trinity hypercars of the 2000s. With a twin-turbocharged V8 paired to an electric motor, it produces around 903 horsepower and introduced a new era where electrification enhanced performance rather than replaced it. Limited to 375 units worldwide, it marked a philosophical shift in how manufacturers approached speed. Another standout is the Chrysler turbine car. In the early 1960s, Chrysler built 55 turbine-powered cars and loaned many of them to the public as part of an experimental program. Most were later destroyed. Jay's example is one of the few survivors, powered by a jet-like turbine engine capable of running on multiple fuel types. It represents a moment when the American auto industry was willing to experiment boldly with alternative propulsion, long before hybrid systems entered the mainstream. Together, these vehicles show how progress rarely moves in a straight line. Some ideas succeed, others fade, but each one pushes the industry forward. And as technology evolved, so did performance at the extreme end of the spectrum. Modern hypercars and the upper limits of speed. The modern section of Jay Leno's garage reads like a highlight reel of the last 3 decades of performance engineering. The Porsche Carrera GT sits among them, powered by a 5.7-liter V10 originally developed from a racing program. Known for its manual transmission and demanding driving dynamics, it has become one of the most respected analog supercars of the 2000s. Production was limited to 1,270 units, and values have climbed steadily as enthusiasts gravitate toward cars that demand driver involvement. There's also the Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren, a collaboration between Mercedes-Benz and McLaren that blended grand touring comfort with supercharged V8 performance. With a top speed exceeding 200 miles per hour, it represented a unique moment when Formula One partnerships spilled into road car development. And then there's the McLaren Speedtail, McLaren's 3-seat hybrid Hyper GT capable of 250 miles per hour. Limited to 106 units as a tribute to the F1's production number, it showcases how far aerodynamics, battery, integration, and computational design have advanced since the 1990s. Despite the staggering performance figures attached to these machines, they aren't sealed away. Jay exercises them regularly, often filming drives and mechanical breakdowns for his audience. For him, understanding how these systems work, how airflow is managed, how hybrid systems deploy torque, how chassis stiffness affects handling, is part of the enjoyment. Standing in that modern wing of the garage, you can see the arc of progress clearly. What began with steam boilers and brass fittings has evolved into carbon fiber monocoques and instant electric torque. And the remarkable part is that it all exists under one roof, connected by a single philosophy: respect the engineering, keep it running, and never lose curiosity about what comes next. What makes the collection so valuable? Putting an exact number on Jay Leno's collection is difficult because values fluctuate, and many of the cars are essentially irreplaceable. Estimates from industry analysts frequently place the total somewhere between $300 million and $600 million, depending on current market conditions and private valuation assumptions. The headline pieces alone account for a significant portion of that figure. A well-documented McLaren F1 has sold publicly for over $20 million in recent years. A top-tier Duesenberg Model J can command several million dollars depending on coachwork and provenance. Rare hypercars like the McLaren P1 or limited-run classics from Porsche and Mercedes continue to appreciate as production numbers remain fixed and demand rises. But the total value isn't just about individual price tags. It's about density. Very few private collections combine brass-era cars, pre-war American icons, post-war European sports cars, experimental turbine vehicles, and modern hypercars at this level, all in running condition. That breadth gives the garage historical weight. It isn't centered around a single brand or decade. It captures evolution across 120 years. And because Jay has owned many of these vehicles long-term, provenance adds another layer. A car associated with a well-known collector who actually drives and maintains it carries a different kind of appeal than one that has simply passed through investment portfolios. Over time, the financial value has become undeniable, but the cultural value may be even greater. When people first hear about Jay Leno's collection, the reaction is usually about money, the size, the price tags, the hypercars. Spend more time looking at it, though, and a different theme emerges. This is what happens when curiosity meets discipline and is sustained for decades. The garage exists because of careful financial decisions, genuine mechanical interest, and a refusal to treat cars as disposable trophies. Every vehicle reflects a moment when engineers pushed boundaries, sometimes elegantly, sometimes imperfectly, and Jay chose to preserve those attempts rather than let them fade. If you've enjoyed going deep into what makes this collection so significant, subscribe and stay tuned. Because there are individual cars in that building with stories just as fascinating as the garage itself. There's always another chapter waiting to be driven.